Yes!
See all of you. You have become the new freedom fighters.
And you're our favorite delegate. Thank you.
40% of the people will disagree with you.
I'll take care of them.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, and just to let you guys know that your efforts are good, Jonah. And and I hope the photographers here take good pictures of all of you, because it's just not the young people. Look who's around you. They're all a cross-section of Navajo society that really care about their votes. And I've learned that you identify with your votes.
Yes.
I've argued before that election is not a Navajo tradition, but Navajos begin to adapt these into their way of life. And that's what you've done. And now you identify with your vote because that's your aspiration for the future. What you want to do for your kids. But I like to look at that as a temporary thing. But we are working on some things. It's taking a while. I was hoping that they would be finalized and they would be introduced. It hasn't happened yet. One of them is what we call a judicial retention election. I've always said that nobody should be permanent. No, not even the Chief Justice. So that everybody should be up for accountability measure. When I was running again, there's a young gentleman that brought in my campaign brochure sheet, and he was checking them off. And I said, I love it. I love it because it's called accountability. When you make somebody permanent, it calls for disrespect of the law. It calls for bad things to happen. Accountability is the best way. That's the Navajo people. So that it's being drafted. It's what we call a judicial retention election. The other one, our lawyers are scared. And they're scared of this person called the Chief Justice because they think that they're going to get disbarred if they speak up to him or against him. And you somewhat hear that from the Chief Justice at the last hearing in Chinle. He kind of sends out these warning shots, against the lawyers. And that's not proper of him to do.
How do we get him out?
There will be legislation that will say that the courts will no longer have the authority to disbar. Especially in a politically charged case. Because when you're arguing over power and authority, you have the lawyers there, and they're giving their best to give advice. Government lawyers so how that will work, I think, is the court will only recommend to the Bar Association, so that then the lawyer has due process.
Okay, yeah.
And so a Chief Justice can't come in and say, boing, you're gone. As he's doing now. So we learned a lot from all the, whatever tribulations and all of that you've gone through, we've learned from it too. And it's bringing out kind of the worst of the system. And so we want to correct those things, and in honor of Pojon, we want to make it good again.
Yes.
And that's some of the things. The election board, I think we're trying to draft a pardon resolution. We want to pardon them and then reinstate them.
Yes.
So I think it's a simple solution. I don't think the Chief Justice has the authority to get rid of the election board.
He doesn't have any authority.
He misused a legislation that we passed in 2012 where it says, when there's you commit an offense. So that was only for those officials that steal money. It was intended for that. Now, the Chief Justice took that language and stretched it a long way. And indirect contempt is not a criminal offense. And I think he was wrong in what he did.
Yes.
And so, but he made the decision. We're just going to pardon them and then reinstate them. So that's another one that we're trying to work on too. And then we're working on, I think some delegates are working on some fluency. We learned a lot from this.
Yes.
What is fluency?
Yeah.
The way I'm beginning to look at it, I don't mind you disagreeing with me, but the fluency, as I understand it now, is it's a flow of the speech.
And some of it can be BS.
Beginning. Intermediate fluency. So it's the flow. It's like water. It's a flow. Recognizing that, I think one of the thoughts that, like for me, what we have is to say that the proficiency or the fluency of the language should no longer be a disqualifying factor.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because we want to bring in young people back.
Yes. That's what it's for.
But give them a chance to learn. And so one way to do it is allow them in, give them 2 years to learn Navajo, and have them speak at a certain level. Yeah. Because they still have to converse with the elders.
Yes.
They still have to speak Navajo. If they don't want to be at that level, then what you do is you give the right to the voter. You reduce the percent recall vote. See, so if somebody is not making the effort to learn Navajo, you can then easily recall them. And then because he's not making an effort, because language is important.
Yes.
But I think taking it here and there and kind of like the best possible answer that we could try to come up with. And then so we allow people to be Navajo leaders. We give them a chance to learn Navajo. It's a good thing. Then we move on. So something like that. And so those type of legislation, I don't know if we'll have some. The special election at Ninia, we don't know how that's going to work. Because now that OHA, it's real interesting. Sometimes I don't understand it. So OHA is saying that disloyalty is okay, but fluency is not okay. See, according to Richie Nance, you can be disloyal all you want, and then you can run for president. See, I don't understand that rationale.
Exactly.
For me, it's the other way around.
Yes.
That if you're disloyal to Navajo Nation, you have no business being a leader.
Yes.
We can't trust you with the decisions. We can't trust you with the money. And we can't trust you with the time in there, or what you do. We can't trust you.
Yes.
But according to OHA, he's saying that that's okay. And it's very troublesome. But I think we could probably try to address these things in such a way that if we're going to have a special election of the Supreme, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on the Chief Justice. Let's see how he handles this case when it gets appealed. Is he going to agree and say that loyalty is less of an importance than fluency?
Yes, he is.
Because we'll see what he says. But I think if Mr. Begay is disqualified, I think we'll end it there and say, hey, let's just go back to the election. There you go. So I think we're waiting for that.
But if that doesn't happen, how can we want a new election now?
I know, but
We've already had an
I
election.
understand that, and the only way you could do it is to recall those delegates that vote against you. That's the only thing I could think of. Because we operate on a vote here.
Yes.
And when we don't have 2/3 votes, we can't do it. So 2/3. I understand that we're back to full force now. I just learned that Mr. Leonard Tsosie was appointed to represent, to replace David Tom. So we're back to full force, and so I guess, you know, but I think, so they'll be swearing him in a little while. But that's the only thing I could think of, because we vote, and then when we don't have, may have a majority vote, but if we don't have 2/3 votes, so we can't really move things. We can't override the president, we can't, you know, vote or to oust Chief Justice, nothing. And then they embolden themselves. So, thank you.